everyone. Welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. It's time for the Monday night Fireside chat, and tonight's topic is canning jar and lid safety and other fun stuff. And here we are. All righty. Well, first of all, let me jump over here first and right up to the top here and say hi to everybody in case I missed anybody on the side chat there. So first one in was Brenda at Duncan 1900 Homestead, followed by Moon over Miami. Then Cammy jumped in there and said hi. Alicia's in here. Denise is here. Green Granny too. Suzanne Galay's here. Ada Near's here. Dr. Paula Ruffin's in the house. Phelan Clan Wolf is here. Scrolling down as fast as I can, folks. Here, All the Things Acres is here, and everybody's talking back and forth. Scrolling down. Lewis is here. It's the Marshmallow Man. Hendo's here, and getting close to the bottom, and I hit the bottom. Okay, so I think I got everybody there. We got 14 watching, 10 thumbs up. Somebody's not hitting the thumbs up.
Yeah, hit that thumbs up or else.
Smash it.
You better do it.
And I think we got a couple lurkers. That's okay. Lurking's fine, but please at least say, hey, lurking.
Yeah, you lurkers.
All righty. So tonight is sort of a PSA, I guess you'd call it, a public service announcement on canning jars and lids and safety and trying to keep the ubu goose from happening. I was late getting in here before the show. I was out in the shop working on stuff, and I got another piece of OBS up on the ceiling.
Oh.
Yeah. Fortunately, I put out a video today for channel members only, and on Wednesday I'm going to make it public to everybody, so channel members get a first preview of it. I put together a Harbor Freight drywall hoist.
Ooh.
And so basically, I put the OBS up on it, I crank it up, it lifts it up to the ceiling, I jock it in place, give it an extra crank, and then I get up on the ladder and I start screwing it up.
That makes life a lot easier than trying to hold it.
Oh yeah. The first couple of them I put up, I put a 2x4 across the one wall with about that much space in there, and I slid from the one end, slid one piece up, held it up there, put some clamps on the other end, and it went around. And then I realized the shop's not square. I mean, it's really out of square.
Sorry.
And
it's gonna be awful to mud.
Well, it's not. I'm not putting drywall. I'm putting OBS, the oriented strand board, chipboard.
Oh, okay.
So that's I'm just putting that up, and the only thing I am going to have to do is go around the top crack of a can of the spray foam and just seal it so the mice can't crawl up the side and get up into the attic portion of it.
So, having any weird dreams lately, Go, of killing varmints?
No. Not vermin killing dreams. Hitting the lottery, I've had that a couple times, and then the IRS shows up and tries to take everything.
Somebody in one of the towns I go through every day just won. One of the gas stations I frequent just sold a $2 million ticket.
Oh,
$2 million.
That would be nice.
Cash out. It drops it down to about 1.6. Drop down that. That gives you about $750,000 cash out after taxes.
Only.
Yeah, $750,000. Hey, I could buy a new truck for me, buy a new truck for the wife, 4-wheel drive, of course, and we can get the big tractor I want to get. All righty. So let's go over here for a second. I got some show and tell pictures just for the heck of it.
Ouch.
Yeah. That's that looks like, well, I'm looking at that, and for some reason, that looks more round than the classical jars I get. But yeah, I've seen the old mayonnaise jars, do that. I haven't seen any of the old school ball or cur jars do that.
I think the older the jar, the harder it's going to be for it to actually crack and stuff like that. The newer ones tend to crack a lot more.
Yeah. And I want to address that here in a minute, but of course, and there's sometimes it's just they didn't put the ring on, or actually it looks like a combination, a one piece lid. So it's
By the way, you guys out there, that is probably the most mess that you'll ever have right there.
Yeah.
If that does happen, that's the most mess. It's not going to explode, and the lid's not going to be in the ceiling and all of that good stuff. It's not.
I actually found, I don't know if I brought that picture up here or not, but I did find a picture where the person locked down the jiggler.
Okay.
And when it blew the lid up, the hood, it bent the hood up, pegged in the ceiling, and blew the can down into the oven.
You can't lock the jiggler.
Yeah, you can't lock the jiggler, and B, that picture shows two lids, and if it hit the awning like it said, it would have bounced back down. It wouldn't have locked into the ceiling right there above the awning. And the other lid for the canner is in the canner, and there is absolutely no food splatter.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that's such a fake picture, and those are just the top 5 things I can think of why that's fake.
Yeah,
it's so
fake. It kind of makes me mad because it makes people so scared to can, and I was scared too. I was terrified. If it wasn't for me calling Tammy at midnight. I was kidding. Hey Tammy, did I do
actually
this
was
right?
awake?
If it wasn't for me doing that, I probably would have been scared too. Like I'd been terrified because you see pictures like that, and you're like, "Holy crap, what is going on?" And then
I think I got the answer to that too, and it came from Susan Goulet here.
Oh,
she sent me a couple emails now, different articles and stuff on deep fake AI pictures. And they're creating them to do everything. And, and that topic is actually coming up on Friday night on the Homestead on December 22nd. That's the topic for then. We're talking about all the stuff that that Suzanne has sent me on this stuff, all the woohoo! Oh boy, there we go. All righty. Gunslinger Outdoors just came in too. And so there are some really unscrupulous people putting stuff out, and I wouldn't doubt that some of the canning accident lids pictures I saw were AI generated.
Yeah.
By
the way, go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead.
You just got a super chat, Gil.
Yeah, I put it up there. All the things acres, yeah.
Everything in that pot is okay as well, as long as you like wipe it off before you put it on the shelf, and obviously check to make sure that the other jars didn't crack or something like that. But everything in there is okay as long as it went for the appropriate amount of time.
Yeah, I'm looking at those from what I can see on the big screen here. Those look like the single piece lids. Now, I can't tell anything wrong with that open jar there, but I don't see any cracks on anything from here.
It looks like that jar, just the lid came off because they didn't screw it on tight enough.
Yeah. And this one, I am guessing, due to the fact that the splatter inside the lid's not broken or anything, at one of the jars, probably the one you can't see, right down here, dead center below the one there, is missing its lid and stuff. Like they opened it up too soon.
Yeah.
Still in pressure, and it went.
By the way, like it's really hard to do that because especially with my Presto, there is a safety mechanism that keeps you from doing that.
Yeah.
So if there's a lot of pressure in there, you can't open it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
yeah.
that makes it.
One of the things when I did the canning using this Presto right here, it was all the way down, no pressure. Wiggle the jiggler off, nothing coming out of it. Let it sit for another couple minutes or so. I couldn't get it to open. And that's one thing I wanted to ask real quick. On the gasket, should you put like mineral oil or something on the gasket?
I put olive oil on mine or canola oil.
Not mineral oil. Mineral oil is a petroleum product and it will eat your gasket.
Yeah.
Okay, so olive oil then. All right.
Yeah. I put canola oil and olive oil on mine. And if it after that, if it's still not doing, you can buy rings for your Presto.
So
store.
Yeah, so on mine to get mine to open, it wouldn't go. I actually got my rubber mallet out and gently tap on the handles, and it finally all of a sudden slid just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it opened up.
There for a while, mine was like really kind of hard to close. It would still do its thing, but it was hard to close. So we just started putting a little oil on the ring just to kind of help it glide a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this one here to me looks like somebody opened it up. So this was not a jar problem or a lid problem. This was somebody opened the canner too soon.
Yeah.
All right.
We're trying to take the jiggler off before it comes down to pressure.
Yeah. And now there's one where the ring was wrong. Oh, I've heard about this too. The rings aren't sized right. The cheap Chinese rings aren't sized right to fit on American jars. Yeah. So you tighten it down, and it doesn't have a good grip on it, and it pops off.
Anymore, you just have to be really careful and do your own research, because right now it's like, I don't know why, but it's like jar war out there, jar and lid war. So people are going to be they're just like fighting each other and putting out false information to sway to one side or the other. So you just have to like do your own research. And it's best to buy American made products anyway. Yeah. Because why? Because we live in America.
Well, and here's the other problem too, is certain quote American made products aren't American made. They're American assembled, because they buy the rubber from another American company who buys the rubber from overseas rather than manufacture it here in America like they used to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any particular brand that happens to start with the same letter that brand does. Okay, and that's what I have there. Those are just a couple of ones I pulled up. Hey, Geeky Gardens, how's it going?
Hello. I'm not going to mention that name, because I mean, just do your own research and find out what is best for you. And but I would instead of going all cheap, I would buy American made. And if you're buying off of Amazon, I've seen a lot of people buy lids off of Amazon, and they go and they can with them, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with my lids? They're doing this, they're doing that. Well, you just really have to look at what you're buying.
Speaking of that, I actually emailed Superb, because some of the ones on Amazon said they were Superb, but they weren't embossed or anything. And I said, hey, and I sent them the links to them, and they go, no, that's ours. Yeah. Back in the beginning, we didn't emboss them.
Right.
But that is one of ours. That's our one. So
I mean, there was a reason why they didn't? Was it COVID related? Yeah. Something they didn't have the material or something?
It cost more, and they had not yet got the machine calibrated to do the embossing, and they wanted to get them out quicker, and they could get them out quicker to people if they didn't emboss them. So there was a period of time when they didn't emboss them because it just slowed things down, and they weren't quite set up for it yet.
Yeah.
But canning is primarily an American thing, I have noticed. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the products are made here because we started it here. So
Well, they used to be.
yes.
They used to be made here.
So please just look out for that.
Yeah.
Not telling you what to buy. Just do
Yeah.
your own research.
Well, I
Now-
will tell you, there's only one company right now that is 100% American made and
I don't
packaged
know.
in America.
Which one
and
is that, Tammy?
That would be Superb.
Oh,
And yes, I am affiliated with them. So I will give you this disclaimer because they do have me come and speak for them. So
And that was one of that the first time you were doing that was at that show thing, whatever. You were up there doing it 2 years ago. And were you affiliated with them before then, or that's when you became affiliated?
they actually contacted me before they started selling lids and asked me to test their lids for them before they sent them out to people and process them. So I've actually been involved with them. And that was unpaid. They just sent me lids and asked me to test them. And I said, great. So I'm not like, I don't get a paycheck from them, but
Right.
I do work with them, and they are the only ones I work with.
We're lucky enough to have Superb right here in Ohio. So very lucky.
So now jar safety. I want to address a couple things here. Back in the day, in the 60s, we had a whole mess of the Kerr brand jars, and my mom and grandma started buying some of the balls because all of a sudden they were just a little bit cheaper than the Kerr, but they preferred the Kerr.
Mm-hmm.
Then I noticed, wait a minute, when it comes to the blackberry jam, my grandmother was using old mayonnaise jars.
Yeah.
And I think maybe in 7 years, she had maybe 3 jars crack.
Yeah.
And when she's canning, was doing the canning of the blackberries, that was usually 3 or 4 weekends of the whole family out there picking, bringing it in, mashing it. That was a lot of jars. That was probably like a couple hundred jars of blackberry jam.
Let me tell you a little story. So I went to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I went to Amish country, and there was a huge vat of their local strawberry jam, and it was freezer jam, so it was cold. And I called Tammy and said, "Will this make the bus trip home?" Because I was worried because I didn't have a refrigerator, and she's like, "Oh yeah, there's so much sugar in that it'll survive the apocalypse." So. Yeah, so when you make jam, there is a ton of sugar in it. So it really kind of doesn't matter what you can it in, because once it's canned and it's in there, you can do a wax seal. Like a lot of people do the wax seal. They leave it set out, stuff like that, because there's so much sugar in it, and that preserves the jam in there. So it'll live.
My mom, a couple of times, she made some jams and added lemon juice to it as well, to keep it from brown. To keep the pears and the apricots from browning. Besides the Sure Gel, but so I know my grandmother used to use the old good Best Foods jar mayonnaise jars, and I don't know if this is a good thing to say or not, but I probably would trust those old jars, and I got a couple boxes full of those old jars from the 60s over some of the new jars that came out after March 2020.
The ones that came out after March 2020 by the big famous brand we're not naming are no longer tempered. And so that makes a big difference too. They also were trying to get things out because demand was so high. And so they stopped tempering the glass, which makes it a lot weaker. Yeah.
And they'll probably start tempering it back and start tempering again because, hey, we made a ton of money by not tempering.
They may or may not do that. Depends on how much money they've saved. And I have a ton of Atlas jars. Before all this hit, I was really into canning. And so I would go to flea markets. Now you probably can't do it, but I'd go to flea markets and buy jars. And I bought 2 boxes of Atlas jars for like $10 or something. So, those jars have been the best. And some people want my sauce and stuff. And I'm like, nah, I'm not giving away my jar. Sorry. Not happening.
Yeah. Prepping to endures in the house. And what is the no brand? Well, I'm not going to say what the no brand could be, but it could be something what you might call this.
But really, honestly, sometimes you don't have a choice. And if that's what you want to buy, go ahead and buy it. Just note that there could be an issue.
Yeah. And the thing with tempering is like a lot of people want to do things like I seal my jars in the oven, and I can't do that with jars that aren't tempered glass.
Yeah.
So they won't withstand this. They won't withstand the dry heat like the old jars.
One of the things that one of the jars I did when I did the canning of the beef and beans was the box set. One of the boxes said on it, canning and freezer jars. So that tells you right there.
That's definitely tempered glass.
Yeah. So, but one of the things I do remember doing with my grandmother when we were doing the blackberry jam was on the jars, when we washed the jars and stuff, and after they were all dry and stuff, was running our fingers around to see if we could feel any ubu-goos on the top of the jar. Because, some of my cousins weren't too brilliant. They'd get it open and stuff. They'd scoop up the jam and they'd tap the knife on there to get the excess jam off the knife when they had too much on the. And it's like, every now and then it's like, this one's got a little chip out of it.
But I did a huge thing over the summer on my channel where I talked about just looking at your jars, because I hadn't looked at my jars because, things happen and I've been busy. But I cleaned my canning area really good and I wiped down all my jars. And in that process, I found a lot of jars didn't seal, particularly pickles and, just like stuff like that. So just make sure that you're just going over stuff and don't leave your rings on your jars. Because when you do that, you're creating a fake seal. And you don't know for sure if that's really sealed or not. So when you store your jars, just make sure they don't have that ring on them. And check them once a year, a couple times a year. Just, and actually I've heard stories where they're like, yeah, my mom would go down there with the duster and she would make sure that all the jars were wiped off. And well, she kind of was right. I mean, I'm not going to be as anal about it, but yeah, they're kind of right. You just go down there and tap the tops, make sure that it's still popping and stuff like that. And you don't want to do it all the time. Just, once a couple times a year or something like that, just to make sure.
One of the things I've about the rings and the lids, the rings and the lids are generally made out of 2 different types of metal. Mm-hmm. And you'll get electrolysis, and for the begins the word I'm looking for begins with an A. I can't think of it. Basically, you get they basically kind of corrode each other.
Oxidized.
No, it's
But yeah, you're right. The two different metals react and corrode each other, so
yeah,
it will cause rust. So if you leave, if you're storing them for long term, take the rings off so that you don't cause early damage to the lids.
Now I have heard that the Amish are selling their own lids.
Yeah.
But they're not putting a name on it or whatever. They're having them manufactured in the United States.
I don't know where they're getting them manufactured. And I know like down where we were in in Amish country in Ohio where Superb is, if they are going to sell them, they're going to sell them from Superb, because Superb supports the Amish, and they have a lot of Amish workers. So if anything, if they do sell lids, they're going to probably try and sell them from Superb, because that's who they are, Mennonite Amish community.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other things I've heard stories of from relatives of the bottom of the jar going boop.
Yeah.
But it's usually water bath was where they've had that happen.
Mm.
They've been water bathing and stuff, and the bubbling and the vibration in it, and then they go to lift one out, and all of a sudden the bottom comes off.
That's like
the jar has
a
been
tempered glass issue. Like if you don't heat your jars up before you put them in that boiling hot water, that could very well just crack or take out. And it depends on what kind of jars you're using. I mean, if your jars, I've had some jars that are like super old that had a hairline crack in them and I didn't see it. So if you're using a jar like that or something like that, it very well could crack or just pop the entire bottom off your jar. And you want to make sure, and for me, what I do is I put them in the dishwasher, and I have sanitation mode on my dishwasher. It like goes up to like 500 degrees. So when you open that thing, it's like, ooh, I like put my face in it so I get a nice steam. You get a steam, and that keeps it hot for a little while. So I use that, and I have to actually use my jar grippers or whatever to get them out.
tongs.
Yeah, but that, I mean, it works, and I've used my dishwasher quite a bit. But a lot of people always like put them in water, and they let that water go hot for a while before they put anything in it.
Yeah, my grandmother used to have a second big water bath canner. She'd keep hot water and had the jars in there. So we pull the jar out, dump it out, and then we should take the hot blackberry jam and pour it into the jar. We wipe it off carefully, and then lid and stuff, and set it into the water bath.
Little hobbies. Long time no see. Good to see you in here.
Hey, there she is. And now that would remind me of something I wanted to ask from earlier. I've had a couple of people comment saying, "Oh, when you're doing before you put the lid on, you need to clean it with vinegar." And I've heard don't clean it with vinegar, because if any vinegar is still on there and you put the rubber on there, it reacts with the rubber.
What do you say?
I've never heard that.
And can weaken the rubber. That's what I've heard. A couple times.
I've never had a problem, and I have done fish with my mom that we put the vinegar on there, put the lid on, and 25 years later it was still sealed. After my mom died.
Honestly, I kind of did that test over the summer.
Basement.
People talk about that all the time, and I did the test over the summer. Okay, so I do that a lot because I'm sloppy. And sometimes I have crap all over the outside of my jars or on the rings or whatever. So I take that vinegar and I wipe the lid off. But in a few seconds later, it's dry. So how is that touching my rubber ring on my lid? It's not. It's dry. All I did was I used like basically a food grade cleaner to make sure that there's no barrier between my lid and the jar, because if there kind of is, or if there's just a smudge of something on there, it could mess up my whole procedure. Yeah. So
I think they may have been talking about cold pack, where you don't, jars are, everything's cold, in there, and then it wouldn't evaporate. But still, I wasn't sure whether or not some of these lids from China, the quality of the rubber might react with the vinegar.
Yeah, I've never used 4 jars, so I have no idea, and I don't even know where to get those. The only lids I've ever used is Ball and Superb. So.
Let's see. Running super.
I've used Golden Harvest, Balls, and Superb. Oh, the only ones I use now are Superb, but I have used the Golden Harvest, which are also like the ones that people are buying at Dollar General. and I have had no problems with those as far as
I've used them for, I think I've used those for
using
like,
vinegar with them.
like, I've never used them for like actual
Mhm.
canning, I think.
All right, now to talk about a little bit another brand, Tatler.
That's like on a completely different level. Tammy can
Yeah.
talk about,
I
because I've
know
never
the
used
man that makes Tatler, and actually I asked him if I could tour his factory, and he is like super like secretive, and he had someone steal his patent, a family member, and that's why there's two of those types of companies, one out of California, one out of Reed City, Michigan. I know the gentleman that invented them from Reed City, Michigan. I've actually met him. But there is a learning curve with Tatler, and they are different. They are two-piece. The rubber gasket that comes in there, you can use 7 times, is what they recommend. So you can reuse that 7 times. The plastic piece that sits on top, you're supposed to be able to reuse that indefinitely, I believe. But it's definitely a learning curve, and you have to do a little bit different technique. I personally own some. I've never used. I used them once, and I'm not a fan, but most of it is because of how he reacted to me when I asked him if I could tour.
Do you think it could turn people off from canning because it's kind of difficult? So if you're like a new canner and you've got Tatler lids, would that turn you off because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is hard and I don't want to do this?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's just a little bit different, and I think my problem is I'm set in my ways. I'm used to using and doing the way I do it, and it was too much of a change for me. Plus, he was really rude to me that one time. The first time I met him, he was very, very nice. I really liked him, and then the second time I called him and asked him about, maybe interviewing him for my YouTube when it was first getting started, and he was really rude. And so I was like, yeah, never mind. I don't want to buy your product or endorse you because you weren't very nice to me.
Yeah.
And then after I asked about that, he joined all of my Facebook groups just to see what I was talking about. But never commented back to me or responded to me. So this is just weird.
Okay. Let me I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna get something else here set up real quick there. And I gotta do something special here in a second. So any other thing about rings? If you start getting rusty rings, best way to take care of them.
Just throw them out. You could try to clean them, but I would just throw them out because rings are just so easy. Like you could pretty much find those suckers anywhere. What is your suggestion, Tammy?
A little sandpaper if you're really desperate and need to use it. But the same thing. I probably have 10 times the amount of rings I need. I mean, you really only need 7 rings or 9 because that's a canner load. So at most, if you're doing a double canner load of pints, you would need like maybe 18 rings ever in your lifetime. And I have way more than that. So if I get one that gets rusty or gets a little wobbly and out of alignment so it doesn't thread on nicely, it's gone. It goes to the craft bin.
All right. Well, all right. So a little announcement here. So let me see where it says I'm at right now. Hit the refresh button on my analytics. And it has me at, 5,004 subscribers.
Woo-hoo.
So we're going to be doing a giveaway on, let me bring up the schedule here. I got it on the schedule. All right. On Friday night, the 15th, going to be doing the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm doing at least 10 $5 Amazon gift cards that night. And also we'll be talking about, where'd it go? Just lost it here. Come on. Okay. Christmas projects for, gifts to give out Christmas project wise. Of course, that's probably going to be talking about, the dry pack cookie mixes in a jar and stuff like that. So that's coming up on the 15th. And on the 12th, the staff sergeant's birthday, we are going to, on Gray Man Prepping, we'll be announcing the winners of the $50 food challenge over there. But right now, let me get this going here. Present, share screen, entire screen. Oh, they changed the link here. Can't tell whether it's going to do the, they changed something different. I can't tell whether it's going to share the audio or not. They took off their little check button, put them with little sliders so that it doesn't change blue for it. So I don't know if it's going to, if the sound's going to share on it. So I'm going to give away a $5 Amazon gift card right now to channel members. I just loaded all the channel members up there. And so let's see, let me do a shuffle it up here a bit. And is the music coming over?
No, I don't hear it.
Tina Weber. Has anybody seen Tina Weber tonight?
Mm-mm.
I don't think I've seen her either. And she just rejoined last week. And let me change one thing while I'm waiting, just in case she's out there, she can pop in. Where is it here? There it is. Change it. So, all righty. And go back to comments. Tina's not here. All right. I don't think so either. All right. Let's go ahead and I'll just go ahead and remove off there. And let's shuffle again and see if we can get another one here. See if we can do it. Is CB in the house? I don't know. So I didn't see CB come in. I have a feeling it's going to be another one of those nights where not getting any anybody feedback here. Is CB here? Oh man, not here.
Get a cough drop and be right back.
All right. So pop CB off there, and shuffle it again, and I haven't seen Lori J tonight either. Blame it on Monday. Yeah. All right. No. Lori's subscribed twice, both channels, so I don't see her around. Let's try this again. I have not seen Janet Homestead where you are either.
Uh-uh.
All right. Shuffle. I forgot to pull Lori last time. So. Yeah, Lori's not here. I forgot to remove her last time. So there, that time I hit remove. Let's shuffle it. And she also means probably Prairie Rider's not going to show up either. Oh, I think we're going to have a winner here.
Oh,
All the Things Acres. Are you still here?
finally.
Nice.
Yeah.
All the Things Acres. Are you still here? Yeah. All the Things Acres. Oh, they just said no. All right. All the Things Acres. Send me an email to, let me throw it up there. send me an email there, and we will, and then I can get it back out to you. So just email me at Camppatton Family Compound, as it's spelled here on the screen. It's also down in the very bottom of the description as well. So, and we'll get that out to you. Okay, there we go. Get that back there, back up here. Yeah. Yep. She won. You won. They won.
Oh.
All right.
Tammy, where'd you go?
Uh-oh. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on here.
Did we lose her?
Not sure. Alrighty. So one of the things that I do know when you're putting stuff like in the either water bath or in the pressure canner, you got to make sure the jars are A, not touching the side, B, not touching each other, and because the jars will rattle. When I was doing the pressure canning, I could hear the water boiling.
Yeah.
And I could tell things were trying. I mean, it was because it makes vibration, and so I was just hoping the entire time. I hope the jars haven't vibrated up against each other, because that would have been ugly. But I do have a question, and I noticed that when I did the after I opened it up and everything, after I let it, all the pressure was off, and then I opened it up. The water was kind of brackish, and the aluminum trivet that goes on the bottom was really stained black.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if that's normal.
It's from the minerals in your water.
Okay. And that's interesting. I guess I'm going to need to crank up the water softener. Because we got a water softener on it here, so.
I don't know if this works or not, but a lot of people put vinegar in their water, but I don't really know how that works. And honestly, when I have really extremely rusty water, so when I would put vinegar in there, it never really did much.
Right.
So
there is a cleaner out. Somebody's supposed to send me a sample, and he hasn't done it yet. But there is a stainless steel cleaner, that a new aluminum cleaner for your aluminum canners. So
yeah. Well, I have the old cleaner. It's called SOS pad.
It's never going to take that water line out of your canner, no matter how much.
even if you put it on a drill.
Speaking of which, I actually had for my die grinder an abrasive pad and some polish stuff that I got from Caterpillar for working on the engines and stuff. And when we were polishing the heads of doing an engine rebuild, we polished the heads of it. Oh man, that thing was mirror polished of the engine, and then we put the high temperature Permatex on there, the gasket and everything. But yeah, I mean, but I say that's a it's almost like, all right, I'll get rid of I'll just see if I can get a stainless steel trivet to go in the bottom instead of the aluminum one.
Yeah,
Because
you might want to get a stainless steel. Yeah,
where the jars were sitting, it's clean underneath the jars.
Yeah,
it's very hard to find a stainless steel one, by the way.
Yeah.
Most all of them are aluminum. It's a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did get stainless steel. The upper layer, the ones the double stack. I got a couple stainless steels for that. And the other thing I got is, as you can see right there, and right there, I got the stainless steel cake racks.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's let's see, jars. Is there anything particular on an old trick for verifying to easily spot whether a jar has a hairline crack in it or not that you've heard of?
Hold her up to the light. Hold it up to the light.
Yeah. I was just kind of wondering if like a UV light or something would show the hairline crack a little bit better or not.
Honestly, I wouldn't even go that far. Like, just check your jars.
Because I got a bunch of small UV lights from Halloween.
Well, I mean, if you want to go all out, you do that. You can even make a video if you want, but it's really just not something I would do.
I just wasn't heard of it.
I hold it up like I inspect a little bit. I even tell my husband, I was like, does that look like a crack? You know, but I'm not gonna fill my jars with milk or put a UV light in there.
I just wasn't sure if there was some trick that that someone says, hey, this works really good and quick, whether it's you hold up the UV light or you do something, and because I know that sometimes depending on how the light hits the crack, it refracts it a little bit and stuff.
Yeah.
The light frequencies and stuff. So I wasn't sure on that. And Wendy's in the house.
Hello, Wendy.
She's on her Mrs. Hardknack Farms channel. And so I was just kind of worried about that. Now, when it comes to reusing the lids, of course, all the companies are going to say, no, don't reuse the lids. But I know my grandmother and great-grandmother used to reuse lids all the time.
That's when you take a walk on the wild side, right, Tammy? Tell us about those.
That makes you if you reuse the lids, that makes you a rebel. So. Yeah.
But then I've
always reused lids as long as they still looked like they came out of the box. If there's, creases on them, there is a trick to make the rubber that comes from the famous company poof back up. I've never had that problem with Superb because they're incredibly poofy to start with. But you can soak them in baking soda, and that'll make the orange or reddish rubbers pop back up. Yeah, I reuse them. I reuse lug lids that come from the store, the one-piece lids.
Yeah.
Mostly I use them for water bath canning, though. I don't tend to reuse them for like something that's really expensive, like my meat that I can. I mostly tend to reuse them for canning tomatoes, because if I lose a jar of tomatoes, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Now, so these lids here that I have were purchased back circa 1971, 72. And if I get the rubber on this,
that's Kerr.
Yeah, the rubber on this, this is Kerr. There we go. Ta-da!
I can tell from the color of the rubber.
Yeah, the rubber on this feels like, all right, this is an industrial rubber. This is going to be good for canning for 20 years. And actually, stuff that my mom canned in 71 and 72, mainly 72, she did a lot of the pears. And we were still eating those that she canned in 72. Yeah, 72. Wait, 72. So I'm doing the math here because we were 70, 74, 70. So in 73, we moved to Arizona, summer of 73. So she may have been done canning, but so it was either early spring 73 or summer 72. And we were still eating the pears out of that, out of the canning 20 years later.
You're, just so you know, Gil, you are a rebel canner. You don't know it yet, but you are. By birth, just so you know.
Yeah, by birth. Yeah, I mean, but I was trained as a little kid as a rebel.
Yeah, your mom was a rebel canner, just so you know.
My grandmother was a rebel canner, and my great grandmother water bath everything because they didn't have pressure canners.
She's a real rebel.
She was like the Amish are now. No pressure canner. Everything's water bath. And with
it depends on which group of Amish. Some of them, the ones up here don't use a lot of canners, but then the ones that are more strict in other areas do. So it's just kind of a hit and miss thing.
Yeah, our cabin in the woods. Welcome. The my great grandmother. Well, all right, my grandmother was one of 2 girls out of 15 kids. 13 boys, 2 girls. Born up above Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and she was born in 1899, and she was about somewhere around the middle of the group. So, my great grandmother, she was born about 1860. And so, back then, there was no pressure canners even thought of being built.
Not for anything other than military use.
And so they were. I mean, that's all they did up there. I mean, the deer. What they did, they canned deer, pig, cattle, fish. I'm just trying to remember all the things that goat. They canned goat.
Oh, goat chili is fabulous.
And then, of course, all the vegetables too. The green beans, the spinach and stuff.
Tammy is braver than me as far as meats are concerned. I get grossed out so easily. Tammy has tried like every meat in the world, and I only eat.
Can't help it. I'm a
maybe
redneck.
Some chicken.
I was raised out of my generation. I was really I should have been born in like 1880s, and I was, it's just weird.
Well, all right. So let me get the years right on this. This was 1989. No, 79. Sorry, 79. Or was it 79? Let me do my math. The guy's born. Got it. There. Yeah, 79. I was in Buchanan, West Virginia. I got invited over several times with some of the friends I'd made there. Oh, we're having possum pie. Come on over. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I got an appointment tonight. I can't. I'm sorry. I was just like, yes, I loved watching the Beverly Hillbillies, but living around some of the real hillbillies is kind of like, oh, guys, I don't know if I'm that brave.
I can say that I've eaten possum, but I was thankfully not old enough to remember it. But I know for a fact that I ate it. I just wasn't old enough to remember it.
I remember one guy talking about doing a coon stew.
That's greasy.
Yeah. They also talked about bear meat. How greasy that was. I love
bear. Bear is also very greasy. I love bear. Yeah. My brother used to go hunting up in the UP, and I think his last bear, most of his bears he got out of Canada, but he would go hunt black bear.
And the big thing though, the big thing they canned, and I never tried it. It's like canning spinach. It was called ramps.
Oh, yummy. Yeah, I have those growing in my backyard now.
And what they had there in West Virginia in the fall was the Ramp Festival.
Yes, they had that in West Virginia.
And nobody in town missed it, because if you did, you'd be going around the next week going, give me some ramps.
Yeah.
Because if you ate it, you couldn't smell it on anybody. If you didn't eat it, you smelled it on everybody else.
So I am trading my lucky ramp spot that nobody knows about with Bevan Cohen for an interview with him about his last 2 books. So we've got to like finish negotiating. He's been busy on a speaking tour, and I'm hoping to get him. But I had to trade him the information on my lucky ramp location because they're very hard to find. There's a lot in the western side of Michigan, but not a lot here in the middle of the state. And so I happen to know where there's a nice little spot that he can do what I did and dig a start up and take it home with him. And so I told him I'd tell him where I found them if he'll do an interview with me.
I'm hoping and praying that my ramps spread. I just want them to spread all over my.
It's gonna take a long time. They take 3 years to even go to seed, so it's gonna take you a while.
Yeah, mine are. I transplanted them from somewhere else, so
yeah,
hoping they just.
Yeah, I never got a chance to go to the Ramp Festival. I got transferred out of that area the week before.
I'm putting that on my bucket list, by the way. I want to go to the Ramp Festival in West Virginia.
Well,
Tim, you gonna come with me?
Down in
Buchanan,
West
I'll have to have the windows down on the way home. Dust will flip.
Well, there's 2 reasons why you go down to West Virginia. Buchanan, West Virginia is in the spring they have the Strawberry Festival, and in the fall they have the Ramp Festival.
In the fall?
Well, late summer, early fall.
Okay.
They do the Ramp Festival. And there are ramps. There are ramps everywhere down there. I mean, you ever say, "Oh yeah, one guy took it. See, there's ramps there. We're walking, taking a shortcut path between 2 properties to get there. It's like, and you guys eat all these, okay?"
Awesome.
I have some ramp pesto in the refrigerator that's got just a skim coat of oil on top of it. And Becca keeps saying, "This has been in here a year. Can I throw it out?" I'm like, no. She's like, "Are you eating that?" "Yes." "But it's been in the refrigerator for a year." I'm like, "Yes, leave it alone. Don't touch the ramp."
Yeah. All right. So I know Tammy wants to get to bed here. So coming up tomorrow on Gray Man Prepping, the topic is get home plan. Winter get home plan. The get home bag has made a big thing coming out. Because after the Red Dragon Maze thing, all the ones that had their bug out bags weren't using them. So they shift their topic. Oh, this is a get home bag. You get home from work, whatever. So, but a get home plan is a little bit more involved. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night on Tactical Tuesday. Friday on Friday night in the Homestead here is home safety check for the holidays. So we're going to, talk about all the safety stuff in the house you need to check prior. All right. Now some people already have their Christmas trees up. They need to start checking certain things. We're going to talk about the electrical octopus and other things. Saturday is prepping supplies for Christmas. We're going to talk about all the cool gifts you can give to your friends and relatives to get them to start preparing. And then next Monday here, the topic is soup mixes, dry canning or vacuum sealed bags or wet canning. So we're going to talk about soup mixes and stuff next Monday. And dang it, I put the book back. I was going to show the book again.
And I don't have it out.
Yeah. But yeah, there are several great books on one jar meals and stuff like that. And this is kind of what that's going to be. Oh, Lori finally showed up.
Oh, I do.
I
could read it barely.
Yeah, there it is. So, all right, everyone. I want to especially hang on. I'm going to change that banner on the bottom here too. If you're not subscribed to Courtney or Tammy, please subscribe to their channels. And of course, there is the Rebel Canners Facebook page, which is amazing. I mean, what do you get? Like 300 posts a day from your members on that thing.
I can't even keep up with it. I'm so glad that I have wonderful admins that help out.
Yeah.
I am really close to 10K. So I am really working on getting to 10K before the end of the year. I don't think I'll make it, but I'm hoping.
Yeah. And Dr. Paula is getting close to. She's still in here.
She was here
She's
just a
getting
minute
close.
ago.
She's getting close to 1,000. I think she's like 9. Shoot, I forget the number now. But she's up above 900 now, so she's getting close to it. She wants to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. So, all righty, and of course, Courtney.
Okay, so I haven't went live on my channel in a while because I've just been super busy. But Joe and I started a channel, Grow Big TV. We're almost at 1,200 subscribers. Actually, if a couple people would subscribe tonight, we would be at 1,200 subscribers. And we just did an interview with Kevin Forty. He is a Guinness Book world record holder for some of the most largest vegetables in the world. So that's pretty cool. And that will be out on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. And I'm sorry I haven't been live on my channel. I've just been super busy with life. So, but I have been putting out shorts and stuff like that. And hopefully I will start going back live on Wednesday nights like I normally do. But I've just been busy. All right.
So put the link in the chat.
He is a celebrity, you guys, in the UK. And it's really, really funny because we were talking to him about canning and he was so scared to can. And then Joe's like, well, we know this woman named the Rebel Canner. And Joe's like, you need to contact her. And so he might be contacting you, Tammy.
Okay.
So.
I'm very sorry, but I went to bed really early that night. I've been doing some really super early morning get up, take kids to school. And so I'm like, by 8 o'clock, I'm ready to crash.
All right. So I just threw up the link for Grow Big TV.
If you guys are really into it and you really like it, if you could, I don't know, watch our stuff over and over and over again if you can, because we need hours. We got the subscribers. We just saw the hours.
Last night when he was doing Grow Big TV for Sunday Fun Day, I went over like I normally do, and I'll on Garden State Garden, I'll throw up a $5 thing for postage. I go to, oh, that's right, they don't have 4,000 watch hours yet.
Yeah, that kind of sucks, but it's okay. I mean, we're almost there. We're getting there. It's just we need the hours. I have a feeling we're going to reach a lot of subscribers before we hit the hours, but we're working on it. So,
all right. So Paula is at 925 right now.
Thursday also will be live at 7 at the same time. We're going over growing guides, and I think this Thursday is going to be peas. So, and then we always do a giveaway of the seed packets. By the way, we're sponsored by M.I. Gardner. And so we'll have lots of his seeds to give away. So come and hang out with us on Thursdays because it's going to be a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. So Grow Big TV is currently at 1,190 some odd. Doesn't break it down any farther than that. And Dr. Paula is at 925.
Don't worry, Dr. Paula. I don't like to reuse lids either. My husband was a rebel before me.
That's right. Dustin is an OG rebel.
He is.
Yeah. I look at it this way. For reusing lids, if you reusing a lid you use for pressure canner, and the next time you use it for water bath for jams and jellies, you're probably absolutely perfectly fine. Because even if it doesn't work and it doesn't seal, okay, melt a little paraffin wax, seal it, just put it on top.
Yeah.
All righty. So with that, I want to thank everybody in the side chat that came in for their comments and everything else. And so hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern on Gray Man Prepping for Tactical Tuesday. And as always, everyone, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Keep adding. Don't stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps water, food, medicine, clothing, and learn a new skill. If you don't know how to can, learn how to can. She'll teach you. All right, everyone. See you around.
Bye-bye.